Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. Shir sponsored by Yeshiva. We're holding in Metzia Daf Lamed. So we're a little bit in the middle of the sugya. Maybe should have gone a little bit more in the previous daf. But what we were talking about is like this: we have a brisa in the end of Lamed base. Spoke about the cases that you have a malve and a loive, and the malve is holding the mashkoin of the loive. And we say that always the malve should do a shvur. Why should the malve do a shvur? Even in cases when usually the loiv will do a shvur. Because the shvur is, what's the value of the mashkoin? The question, if the loiv will say the value is X, malve will take out the mashkoin later, and you find out that the loiv said something wrong. It's going to be a shvur, which is a blatant shvur l'shav, a shvur l'sheker. We don't want that to happen. So we always say the one who's holding on to the item, he will be the one doing the shvur. So where I asked, based on this question of Rav Huna, because Rav Huna said that when a person, when someone who's holding on to an item says that I don't have the item anymore, he has to do a shvur sheni b'shusay. So if he's doing a shvur sheni b'shusay, the malva is set to do a shvur first. That's not there. So if it's not there, what was the whole... So why are we choishish that maybe you'll take out the item and you'll see the loiv is like? That was the question that we had. They more brought one answer. The first answer that we saw that the Eidim said that they saw that the item was stolen. And therefore the malva will never take it out. But maybe it will be found later. Or it goes on in the second answer, similar answer. He says, I found it after shvur. It wasn't by me. There was Eidim that wasn't there. But then he found it and it will show him and you'll see the light about the value. But therefore there's no shvur that's not b'shus. They're both nishba, the malva and the loiv. The malva does a shvur that's on his b'shus. And the loiv then will do a shvur how much was worth. Hi, the Brisa said that the malva does a shvur. No, the Brisa says, who's the first one to do a shvur? The first one, the malva do a shvur that's not b'shus. Because maybe the loiv will do shvur, and what's the worth, and the malva will take it out and show that he lied. It'll be a blatant lie. So therefore, what we say is the malva first of all should do shvur that's not b'shus, as Rav Huna says. Then the loiv can do a shvur, and that's exactly the pshat in the Brisa. So going back to the cheshbon, in the Brisa, the ratio was that the malva is telling the loiv, your mashka is not worth my loan. And the loive either disagrees completely or he disagrees somewhat. The end of the Brisa speaks about that the loive tells the malve, my mashka is worth more than the loan. You owe me money. Something more at the beginning of the sefer, when the loive goes to the malve, tells him you owe me money, that's what's questioning Rav Huna. Sell vidani, I lend you sell. Sell alav, you get, in other words, you lend me money on this mashkin, but my mashkin is worth double. And the malva says, no, I lend you a seller, and the mashkin is worth exactly the same amount. Potter. He's potter. Why? Because of is not to be moed b'mitzvahs. He completely denies the whole claim. That he anyway has to do a shvur she'einu b'shusoi. It's to do a shvur, that's how I mean. The fact is, anyway, doing a migo. Anyway, he's doing a shvur that's not his b'shus. So you do gilgul. Once he's doing one shvur, you do a second shvur. So why are you telling me the malva should not do a shvur because he's not moed b'mitzvah? Should do a shvur, it's a migo. I said the Shemai's for Rav Tehei b'ma minoi. Talk about a case, there's ma minoi, what does it mean? That the loiv tells the malve, I believe you. You don't have to do a shvur. You're right, but what did it say you have to do a shvur if the loiv requires it? Here he's not requiring it. So that's why that question on Rav Huna. Says the Gemara, v'nehemne loiv l'malve na'im beho kama hashove. So if you really loiv, trust the malve, trust him completely. Trust him also how much it's worth. It's more like kim lebegaveh. He doesn't know. He doesn't know the value. He thinks it's the value. He doesn't know the value. Says the Gemara, so the malva should, if the loiv is really trusting the malva so much, why don't we say the malva trusts the loiv? That he knows the worth of the item. He doesn't believe it. What's the difference? Why the you say the Malvi trusts the Levi doesn't trust the Malvi? It's more Levi Mikayim Malvi Tumas Yishorim Tanche. Malvi Mikayim Levi Vesav Boidim Yashdim. This is a very strong line. As Rashi says, the Levi looks at the Malvi and says the Malvi is rich. If he's rich, that means the Koshbu will give him money. That means he is an Adam Yosher. Look at what Rashi says. If he wouldn't be a trustworthy person, they wouldn't make him rich. And the Levi, they needs money. That's the opposite. The fact he doesn't have money, that shows he's not trustworthy. That itself, having money not having money is an indication if the person is a Yosher or not. Very in this more. Okay. So he put by his friend some nizomim, as Rashi says, some jewelry. Only I have to keep it, give it back to me. So I don't know where I put them. That's what you don't know. You're appreciative. You're negligent. Zil sholim, go pay. Lo sholim, didn't want to pay. So Nachman went and took away his best mansion from him. Eventually, you found in his own, and it became more expensive. So came Nachman and said, okay, let's take back whatever we did. You give back the mafkid, the one who deposited. He should give back the mansion to the owner, to the shomer, and the shomer will give back the kipi to the owner. In other words, the shomer will lose because even though the kipi now is worth more. We learned our parak. He says we learned in our Mishnah when a person pays it doesn't want to do shvuah. So then what happens? The shomer doesn't do a shvuah. He just pays. He gets the right for the item. So here that he paid the avadno, he should get the right for the extra benefit that now the keeper is worth more. He did not answer. And Rava says that Nachman never answered me. The Shapiro al is a good thing he didn't answer me. My time also meaning big difference. In our Mishnah, we're talking about a guy who came, the owner gives to the Shemer, says, where's my item? He says, it was stolen. He says, okay, so do a shvuah. He says, no shvuah, I'll pay. He didn't bother him to base it. But in this case, he took it to base it, he didn't want to pay, and Rav Nachman had to enforce it. So when the Mimah saw Nachman the Shumo Hoda, you want to tell me that once after you do a valuation, you could change it. You return it back. They did a Shumo, which means they gave the valuation they took away that fund and gave it to him, and now you change it back. You give him it back. Shani also the Shum betosu they have a kirmikar. That's not a Shumo. It's a mistake. They gave it to him because they thought it was gone. It wasn't gone. For 12 months, you could do return to say if there was a mistake. Meaning if there was a mistake in valuation, not a mistake in the fact that he gave it. Right? So, more not only mistake. Right? I said mistake, but even when he pays him back, you take it back for 12 months. Forever, the guy can come and redeem his item. That's the right thing to do to return it. Something more. Pshito, meaning, he went and they did a valuation of the Baal Choiv, and he went and did it for his own Baal Choiv. Right? You're not better than the other one. So the same way by a regular lender, he gets the item. He needs to return it if the guy wants to pay back. So also the lender will be the same thing. Right? So he has to get, because of Yeshiva Toiv, take back your money. As we'll see down the Gemara, what's the Yeshiva Toiv? The guy lend money. What is he expecting back? Money. Now, obviously the borrower didn't want to get back, so he tells you, you know what, I'll give you my house instead. And then he has money. Do the right thing. Take back the money as you originally planned. Same thing happens if you have a lender of a lender. Says the Gemara, but what happens if he sold it? The lender sold it to somebody else. Or he bequeathed it to somebody else. Give it as a gift. When it comes, even someone who inherited, it doesn't matter. The minute he goes into it, he says, he hears that he got a gift from this blender. What's the gift? A beautiful house. He's so happy he gets a house in the Hamptons. Then a year later, come back and say, by the way, you give the house back. This house belonged to some borrower and he was going there, so you have to give it back. The one who got the gift, the one who bought it, says, I didn't want money. I want to have the actual house. So then we don't say that. It has to be Yeshiva Toiv, because you in any way wanted only money like a lender. They did an evaluation for Isha that she's supposed to get for her ksuva. She got married. Or any other shuma, not for the ksuva. They did a shuma for the Isha. Or they took it away from the Isha and she got married to Meso. Because it'll be a lokach, and therefore he doesn't get it back, and also don't give it back to him. He's not considered to be as if the original owner is not there. So that's why you don't give it back to him. If they did a shul for her and she died and the husband inherited her, you can't. The borrower cannot go back and say, "1 second, I want the Isha back," because the husband, he's considered to be a buyer who bought it from the Isha. You don't take it from the buyer. Okay. Says the Gemara, and so the husband doesn't return it. So the husband doesn't return it, and because he's considered to be a lokach, and they don't return it to the husband. Says the Gemara, when a woman sells in the life of her husband, we learned this Bava Kamo, and she died. So considered to be is not a she. By Yerusha, her works the same thing. But in this case, when you see that he's considered to be not as her, it's considered to be as a buyer. Says the Gemara, now, what does it mean? Says Rashi, they didn't do evaluation. So the bar says to the lender, you know what, let's not go to basin. Just take this land, I don't have how to pay you. So once it goes back, you can give money and give it to him. Once he doesn't go back. Why? This is like a sale. You owed him money, he said, you know what, I can't give you money, let me give you this instead. I mean, it's as if he's selling you this, considered to be like a regular sale, you can't change your mind. The one who says goes back, it's not a loan, it's not a sale, sorry. The only reason he didn't want to get a base team, it's only because he was embarrassed. So that's the machlekes, how do you consider this? So when does the guy who extracts the land starts eating fruits? So says the Gemara, when he got the star that he's allowed to go and take the field. Even before he kept his hand, once it was signed that drachto, he could take it. Once because once the drachto goes to his hand, they have to announce out and say, this guy is going to take this field away. So only after that announcement ended, that's when he starts eating fruits. So says the Gemara, says the Mishnah, person rents a cow from his friend and he lends it to somebody else. And now she dies normally. So a shoyel doesn't have to pay for Mesa Kedarko. Sorry, a shoyel doesn't have to pay for Mesa Kedarko. But the shoyel does. So Yeshiva has soicher shemesa Kedarko. So the soicher, the renter, he goes to the owner. The owner says, where's my cow? So then you rent it. So they die. But sure, but and the borrower pays the soicher. Because the borrower doesn't have to tour when the animal dies. So Shimon rented a cow of Reuven. Levi borrowed it from Shimon. So now Reuben comes to Shimon, where's my cow? Died, which is the truth. Don't have to pay. Levi comes to Shimon and died. You have to pay. So Shimon will get paid from Levi. So Shimon is making business with the cow of Reuben. He's making the money, Reuben is losing. Now, you have to pay back to Reuben, the owner. That's a machlekes. Says the Gemara, what makes this paro belong to the renter? Then now you can ask money from the borrower. B'shvua. He does a shvua to the man. It says, I don't have to pay you. So the one who's renting it out, the owner, should tell to the one who's renting, I'm taking you away in your shvua. Let me deal with the shul directly. Why does Tadakama hold that the shul goes to the Seicher? Only Misorat Seicher b'shvua the Kakanila? No, it's not going to be with his shvua. Now you're asking, I don't want your shvua. B'shaz Miso the Kana. He was kind of meaning when he died. And the shvua is just to make the Bava happy, doesn't feel they lost it. Now, the first we deal with two things. First of all, why would you think that the shvua is koine? How is the shvua koine? And second is, how exactly does it work that when an animal dies, it becomes his? The animal dies, and therefore what? Where's the kinyan? The kinyan is because he died, so now he's potter, that's because koine? Or once he dies, he realized from the beginning, when he was moishichet, it shows that that's something that became his obligation he had before. There's a discussion over here in the Mefarshim. There's a case that the Balabais, the owner, will pay the renter, according to Tanakama. So Shimon rented for Reuben a cow for 100 days. Now comes Reuben to Shimon. So I want to borrow that cow that I rented to you. I realize I need it. Let me borrow it for 90 days. Then Shimon rents it again for 80 days. He comes to the back and says, you know what, I need it back. Rent it to me again, and he tells another rental. Now Reuben goes and borrows it back from Shimon for 70 days. So died doing one of these periods of Shelo. The owner needs to pay the rent. The Reuben has to pay Shimon for the 2 times he borrowed from him. Right? He borrowed from Shimon 2 times. So as it comes from the Rishonim, that if the amount of days will be equal, so then it disqualifies the whole thing. So if Reuben rented to Shimon for 100 days, and then Reuben borrowed it from Shimon for 100 days, so the 100 days cancel each other, nothing happened. But because he rented to Shimon 100 days, and he borrowed only for 90, so he has to return for the last 10 days. So now when Shimon goes and rents it to, then he rents it again for Reuben for 80 days, and Reuben borrows back, these two rental times are still there. And Reuben is borrowing from Shimon, who's the owner, per se, as the renter. He's considered to be the owner, he's borrowing it twice, he has to pay for both times. It's the same cow going in and out. It went in for everything. Not considered to be that there was a rental that belonged to Shimon and then went to Reuven. It's considered to be there used to be rental, then it stopped the rental and went to be borrowing. And then it went back. That's it. So he says the Gemara. So what's the shayla? Rashi says, pay only once. That should be for both. All he needs to do is one cow. It's not that it's considered to be 2 different transactions. It's one transaction. If the cow is there, you can say that cow went in and out. There's no cow. So there's obligation. So you have 2 obligations. You really have only 2 cows. You have to pay back. you have to pay for the rental one, and you have to pay him for the extra 10 days he still has to rent for. So Shum Sheilo Achasi, the rental is one, and you have to pay for that for the Kaladai. Shum Schlim Zachasi, and you'll use it for 20 days, 10 days for the first rental, 10 days for the second rental. The Sheilo Kani Legame, he gives it back and he uses it forever. That's his. I mean, he has to pay him back because he bought for him. The Schus Olubay Mischiu, so he works with it for 20 days, and he returns it back to the owner. So what do you see? So that's what it is. So very, very interesting. It's a very long Rashi here. It's good to see it inside. But the idea is that once you're telling me that when he rents it, according to Tanakama, he becomes an owner of the parah. So now if you lend it even back to the owner has to pay. The question is, if you rent it again, it's considered to be a separate transaction. Well, it's considered to be the same transaction. That's the machlokes that we have over here in our Gemara. This is what to be married, but we'll stop over here. And we have the shuk continue from here in the next half.